Hi there and welcome to Miss Estrick Biology. I'm going to go through in this video how you can use the specification to really improve your grades in a few simple ways. So first of all, let's just have a look at what I'm going to cover in this video. So if you don't want to watch it all, you can skip along the time codes at the bottom and go to what is relevant for you, because I know time is precious. So I'm going to be showing you how you can use the spec at a glance, the assessment objectives, subject content, mathematical requirements and the practical skills sections of the spec, which you can see over here, to your advantage to maximise your grade and improve your revision and exam technique. Now I am applying this to AQA, but you can use these ideas for whatever exam board you're using. It's just I'm going to be using their exact spec. So first of all, the spec at a glance. This is at the beginning of the specification, and you are given this overview just to show you what to expect from the course. So you get the different topics, so you can see if your teacher's talking about topic 1 or topic 5, you actually know what the title is, and then you can skip to those sections if you want to look at it in more detail. But what I think is even more useful is what you're given for the AS or the A-level exams. And I'm just going to focus on the A-level. So you're told what to expect on all three papers in terms of which subjects are going to turn up from that list. But more interestingly is how it's going to be assessed and the types of questions. And I'm not sure if everyone's actually aware that you can see the exact breakdown of the questions at the bottom. So for example, paper 1, you know you're going to get 76 marks are going to be a mixture of short and long answer questions. But at the end of the paper, you'll have 15 marks, which are long answers, so extended response questions. So that could be 3 5-mark questions, for example. Now, paper 2 is different because you have 15 marks of comprehension at the end. And then paper 3 is very different because this is where you have more to do with the practical skills, critical analysis, and the essay. So the way to use this to your advantage is it helps you to be able to prepare before each exam. So before paper 1, practice more extended response. Before paper 3, practicing the essay, for example. So you can go into the exam knowing what to expect, and that should build your confidence. The other thing is knowing the timings, marks and weighting, just so you're going to be aware of approximately how long you can afford to spend on each question. So the next thing is being familiar with the exam structure and what is meant by assessment objectives. And your teacher may or may not refer to that in the lesson. It's something that I always do. Assessment objective 1, 2 and 3. And I do actually have another video that goes into this in a lot more detail, which I'll link up here so you can have a look at. But in very, very brief terms, AO1 is generally your understanding and your knowledge. AO2 is typically application questions. And AO3 is more linked to the practical side of it. And what you can have a look at is for each of the papers, the exam papers, paper 1, 2 and 3, you can see what proportion you can expect of those different skills. So paper 1, almost half of the paper should just be assessing your knowledge of the theory. About a third will be application and about a quarter or just under will be practicals. But when you get to paper 2, over half of the questions will be application. So it is a much more challenging paper if you find application questions harder. So you know that when you're preparing for paper 2, really practice lots of application questions. And then when we get to paper 3, this one's actually more evenly balanced, but you have a much higher proportion of AO3. And that is where you have the practical based questions. So that is why it's really important to know the weightings, so you go into the exam prepared for what level of challenge and what proportion of each skill you're likely to get. Now it also tells you that 10% of the overall A-level will be based on the math skills. And that doesn't mean 10% per paper, it's just an average across the A-level. 10% of the marks will be mathematical skills. And where it says equivalent to level 2 or above, that is referring to GCSE higher paper. So it'll be that level of challenge. And the last thing we've got here is at least 15% of the overall assessment will assess your knowledge, skills and understanding of the practical work. And I'm going to come back to that a little bit later on. So that's the information you're given you. How can you then use that to maximise your grade? Well, first of all, understanding the skills you're going to be assessed on and the proportions means that you can better manage your revision. You know how much time you should actually be spending on learning the content versus how much time you should be spending practicing the exam questions. So you're being exposed to more application questions, and whether those questions should be practical based, mathematics based, or just based on the theory. So that is why it's really important. And again, just going into the exam with the knowledge of the quantity and the challenge level means you're more fully prepared, you can be more confident. Now, the subject content. This is the key part of the specification. And sometimes this is the only part that students are aware of that exists. And this is where for every single topic, they give you an outline of what you need to learn. Now, the first thing I'm going to go through is just what these codes mean on the opportunities for skills development side. So we can see here we've got ATF, and they've given some information there about reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars. Now, AT means apparatus and technique. So what that means is within this section of the specification, there's the opportunity for you to be assessed on what equipment or what technique you should be using for those practicals. So that's what they're telling you. You can expect to be questioned on the apparatus or the technique, which could mean the method. The next thing we have is where you're told students should be able to. Now, this basically means you could get application questions on this bit here. So it's not something that's written in the specification that you have to know everything about this point, but what they're telling you is you need to be able to appreciate how the models of enzyme action have changed over time. So have an awareness of that. Appreciate that enzymes catalyze a wide range of reactions, whether it's in the cell or out of a cell, and then you can determine the structures and functions from cellular to whole organism levels. So in other words, they're saying you can expect to get a lot of application questions to do with enzymes, which are enzymes you've never heard of, catalyzing reactions you've never heard of, and you have to apply your knowledge to work out how the structure of the enzyme links to the function. So if you want to prepare for application questions, these boxes here, the student should be able to, might be worth going through and highlighting so you can be prepared and then improve your confidence on what kind of application questions you could get. So the next thing to look out for, which would be worth highlighting in your specification, is where all the required practicals fit within the theory. So that will help you understand the purpose of the experiment and being able to explain the results. So for example, required practical 1 is an investigation into the effect of a named variable on the rate of an enzyme-controlled reaction. Then we have the mathematical skills. So anywhere on the spec where you see MS, that stands for mathematical skill. So what this is telling you is the types of maths questions you could get linked to this theory. So you might get an enzyme question, but within that theory, you are asked questions to do with the pH. Lastly, you could get practical skills, which is the PS that you see. And this isn't directly always linked to required practicals. It could be that it's one of the required practical skills or apparatus that you need to be familiar with. So that's the first thing, is being able to understand what all the information is telling you. Now, how you can then use that to improve your revision and your exam technique to improve your grade. First of all, with the actual theory where it says content, this tells you exactly what you need to know. So what I would suggest is one thing you could do is have a look at all the key words. We've got monosaccharide, condensation reaction, disaccharide, and so on. That could be used to make flashcards of the key words. So then you can be confident that you know all of the key terms and information for one topic. Or you might want to use the theory or the content sections to make a summary mind map. So instead of writing out lots and lots of notes, you might want to use it to see what are the key points that I need to know for carbohydrates or for enzymes, whatever the topic might be, and then make a summary mind map. Or it could be, as more of a starting point after a lesson, you could then review your specification to see from what you wrote down in your notes in the class and maybe from looking at your textbook, what are actually the key points that you could be examined on. And then you can use your specification to highlight the key things that you wrote down in the class. Now, in addition to that, the point of being able to look through your spec and reading through it is to give you that confidence and power that you know exactly what you have to revise, you know the level of detail, and you know the types of application questions that could come up. So the specification, the content section, is so valuable to giving you that independence to be able to improve your learning. Now the mathematical requirements, the reason I point this out is, now I've only got a tiny section here in the screenshot, but there's loads more. What this tells you is all of the mathematical skills that you could be assessed on. So if you weren't clear on where it said 10% of the 10% of your questions will be mathematical based on GCSE or higher, this will actually tell you exactly what the skill is and an example of how it could be linked to the biology. So it's definitely worth having a look through, so you don't then have to think, well, do I actually need to know this formula, or do I need to know how to do this in maths? The answer's there in your spec, so have a look through. Now what I would recommend is this revision guide or textbook. It's a very small one here, the Essential Math Skills for A-Level Biology. And this links to this section in the specification. So all of the math skills that they've stated here are covered in that book. How you would actually work out a maths question linked to that with examples, and there's a few questions within it. Now if you are interested in that, I have got a link in the description so you can find a copy. It is a really useful tool, which even as a teacher I use because I'm not a maths teacher, so I do need to look things up sometimes. Now lastly is the practical skills section of the specification. And the required practicals is one element, but you also have to know all of these apparatus and techniques, which is often the bit that gets overlooked by students. So for example, the first thing it says is you need to know how to use the appropriate apparatus to record a range of measurements. So for example, you need to know which piece of equipment you would use to measure mass, time, volume, temperature, length and pH. And that could be a 1-mark question. Or it could be you need to know how to use the appropriate instruments to record quantitative measurements such as a colorimeter and potometer. So there isn't a single required practical which is saying the use of a colorimeter. There is one where you do have to use a colorimeter, which is number 11, and there isn't one linked directly to potometers. But what this is telling you is you could be assessed on the method or the reasoning of why you would use these pieces of equipment, and so on. You can have a read through the rest. Now on the required practical page, you've got what the 12 required practical titles are, and then it tells you for that required practical which apparatus and techniques you could get questions on. So that's why using these two together is really useful. Because if you want to revise the practicals, you could have maybe a mind map of enzyme controlled reactions, and then have a look at what A, B, C, F and L are on this list and annotate that around. So for example, we're told that F, let's see what F is. Use of qualitative reagents to identify biological molecules. So that could be, well, enzymes are proteins. Maybe I'll get a question linked to Biuret reagent to show that enzymes are proteins. So you need to know a method for each technique, know how, why, when you would use each piece of apparatus, and be familiar with what you could be assessed for each required practical. So that's how you can use this to your advantage. Now the last thing just to show you is linked to those practical skills. Because you don't actually have a physical practical exam, instead they're assessing your knowledge on a written paper, it tells you the types of things you could be assessed on. So independent thinking, there's a lot of this on paper 3. You could be asked to solve problems in a practical context linked to any of those previous apparatus and techniques or required practicals. And you've got all of this other information here, so looking at how it could link to interpretation as well. Now I'd recommend this book here. It's really useful. It goes through for all of the required practicals, but also for the apparatus and technique from the specification for AQA, the types of questions you could get and how it links to different practicals. So that's it for how to use the specification to improve your revision technique, your exam technique and your overall grade in biology. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up.